Good afternoon, YouTube. It's your man, all the way, George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. As you know, this is Muscle Talk episode number 33. And this is a subject that I've been talking about quite some time. I mentioned to some ladies when we had our conversations, and I want to share your thoughts on this. And this is just something that I just mentioned. Like, should there be a women's master division in the pro division? In the IFBB? It's mostly in wings of strength. If you know, wings of strength controls women's bodybuilding. As you know, everybody who follow the sport of female bodybuilding, the last 6 years, the women's pro female bodybuilding division has been under the wing of the Wings of Strength, which is a company that's established by Jake Woods, and at the time it was him and his wife Crystal Woods, the time that saved female bodybuilding after 2014, when the IPB, the International Federation of Bodybuilding, decided to drop female bodybuilding altogether, not just from the Olympia, but from everything, from the Olympia, from all shows, has in connections to the IFBB, no longer carries female bodybuilding. And there's been to me, it's kind of a personal debate. I mentioned to a couple other people before about, should they create a division for women who are older, like, who are, women who've been around for quite some time, or women who just got into the sport and who finally got their, who's finally hitting their strides, and how it would affect the rankings. My suggestion is personally maybe, something for some of these ladies who might have a difficult time competing alongside some of the younger women in the pro division. And it's just a thought. I'm hoping my brother Jarrett come in here and we can chop it up and we can go back and forth. But there's quite a few women who are currently competing who are over 50, and they look pretty good. But if they had their own way, when they had their own side where you can do a little show for themselves. I was doing some research. I'm doing some videos, I'm making videos, and I'm doing some research. And I saw some time ago that there was a ladies master's class for a minute. I think it was back in 2016 at the Chicago Pro. And I saw some names that was recognizable, like Angela Rayburn, I think Patty Corbett, and a few others. And they competed in this division. I think it was short lived, but couldn't we start it up? And there's some women who have long since retired from bodybuilding, who are still in great shape. As you know, recently, Yaxenia King, who is one of the few women who beat Iris Kyle for the Miss Olympia, she came back last year after sitting down for about 2 years. Her last competition was back in 2018, and she sat out for the last couple of years out of the sport of bodybuilding. I think 2017, 2018, I think, yeah. And she's focused on her life, her career, her businesses. And she decided to make a comeback. But it was just a one-time thing, she said, But this thing about Yaxenia King, she was constant. I was doing some research from stuff, and I saw on her record, she never missed a year. Other than those last 2 years after she retired, she never missed a year competition. Now, that's something like this. A lot of, like, if you ever follow certain bodybuilders and you look at their contest history, you'll see you might see a year, they skip a year, 2 years, 3 years, some even 4 or 5 years. But if you ever looked at Yaxenia Keynes, especially when she turned pro, she competed in every year throughout her career. And Yaxenia is going to be 52, 53 this year. I know she was born in I think it was September, I believe September, October, August. I think one of those. I think about October, September she was born, and she is one of the few women in the sport, especially at the time as a pro, that was competing. She competed in, I would say, in 3 decades. Good part of the '90s, the 2000s, and the better half of the 2010s, up to 2020. So, would there be a possibility if Wing Strength would do this? Would they want to create a women's, um, masters division? Now, I remember back in the day, years ago, the IFBB did this. They created a men's master division, and I saw guys like Lou Ferrigno. Lou back then, it was like about in the early '90s. Lou Ferrigno, Vince Taylor, Albert Beckles. I mean, a lot of guys that were very popular back then. They competed in the men's master division, and and most of these guys. There was even a guy I think he was like about probably 60. The rest of the other guys were like in their, let's say, late 50s, late 40s, early 50s, as far as you can go. And I think one guy at least when he's in his early 60s. But there are quite a few female bodybuilders who are up in that age bracket, about 60, 50, something like that. For good as Emma said, I did a video, part of my muscle series, and I mentioned Irene Anderson. And Irene Anderson is in her mid 50s, and this woman she's just a mass muscle. I mean, she placed top 5 at the Rising Phoenix last year, and she made top 5 at last year's Miss Olympia, where she, if you remember at the Rising Phoenix, the top 5 was Andrea Shaw, Helen Trevino, Monique Jones, Alicia Young, and you had Irene Anderson. Then at the Olympia, kind of changed a bit right there, because some competitors were didn't make Olympia, but pretty much about the same names were there. So the top 5 for that show was Andrea Shaw, who took first, Marjorie Martin took second, Helen Trevino took third, Alicia, Myla Ash took fourth, and Irene Anderson took fifth, with Monique Jones taking sixth. And that's kind of like, wow, Monique took sixth. I'm kind of thinking to myself, Monique's a little younger than Irene, maybe about, I would say, 13, 14 years younger than Irene. And she beats out the most young, somebody a little younger than her and probably a lot more bigger than her. And I remember at the Rising Phoenix, there was the most muscular award. That was between, actually to me and truthfully, it was between Irene and Monique. I don't think Andrea Shaw, I like Andrea Shaw, but I don't think she deserves to be most muscular. Now, Alicia Young has won it quite a few times, but this time Alicia looked a little more tighter compared to her last couple of wins. So the debate is that, would it be a good idea? Would it be another form of competition? Or what would happen? Where could these ladies, like, if they do the master division, would they do it separately? Like, as you know, in the like NPC, they have the Pittsburgh show, which is a teen and masters nationals, that's the only place where you have competition between competitors up to as far as about 60. And that's in the amateurs. And then once you get the pro card, and say, oh, okay, you don't have to compete. You compete with anybody your age, but wouldn't be interesting to create something like a master's division in women's bodybuilding. And since, as I said again, women's strength is no longer under the yoke of the IFBB. They're, even though they're not really, they're still governed. They have to be judged by the same judges that are, judged by the IFBB and judge the shows for all the shows in the IFBB, but they're not as, they're not, they don't have to, they still have to abide by the rules of the IFBB, but they're not, promoted by the IFBB. But it's just something that's, it's kind of some kind of I can't how to explain it. It's a quagmire with women bodybuilding. Even though wing strength it's like wing strength is a manager, but they still have to adhere to the rules of the IFBB. And that's always been kind of funny to me about that. Now, as I was saying, as I mentioned, Irene Anderson is one lady who is in her mid 50s to almost mid 50s. You have just recently also another female bodybuilder who retired some time ago, may have come back, Michelle Ivers Brent, or if you are classic hardcore fans, that's my man Marcus Bell. Thank you, Marcus, for dropping that like. I appreciate that. Anytime he comes through for me, I'm glad. I mean, that's my brother. He's my brother over at CSA Combat Sports. He's one of the moderators and over at our Lions Den MMA community Facebook page. Come check that out if you're a fan of women's mixed martial arts. And also, if you have time, come join us on CS Combat Sports, where we talk about women's MMA. So, and my channel, I mostly focus a lot more on the women, because the fact is, I said it before, the men have like 11 million channels about them, especially on Facebook and on YouTube. But the women have so few channels of their own, and most of the channels are more for fetish than anything. But this is a channel where we talk about different subjects in the sport of female bodybuilding, particularly. And the subject is, like I say, I'm talking about is about, I said again, about women who are much older, if they should have their own division with the wing strength. Now, instead again, I was going to start like, okay, now Michelle Brent or Michelle Ivers, somebody you might remember her. She came back at the 2020 Tampa Pro. And one lady who was a friend of mine, who I hope she's doing all right, because I need to reach out to her, and that is you're a friend, Roxanne from my first day. You're no Roxanne Montescari fans. No Grandma Roxy fans. No, y'all stay away from. We don't want to talk about Grandma Roxy. No Grandma Roxy. No, we're not a fan of Amanda Nunez, the Creonte. And we have no fan of the hype job, Kayla Harrison. But anyway, Michelle Ivers Brent came back at the Tampa Bay Pro after being out of the game for maybe about 3 or 4 years. And she didn't do too well. I think she made the top. There was only like 7 women at that show, because of that year, that's when the pandemic hit. A lot of shows were canceled. Tampa Bay is one of the biggest shows for female bodybuilding. And she competed. And I was about to say, Ronnie Cashmere, who's a good friend of mine. I need to reach out to her if I need to remember. She helped train Michelle to get ready for the Chicago Pro. And Michelle is at least 60, like she's 60 years old. And if you follow Michelle Britt on social media, when she competed in Chicago, Michelle looked tight. Now, not like back in the day like she used to. Like, I remember when she came up, she was with another bodybuilder by the name of Trudy Ireland. And they were like, to me, like bookends. They were both amazing women. And Trudy never turned pro, but Michelle did. And I know another bodybuilder who knows her also, And Michelle was, she was amazing. She looked great as Chicago Pro. There's a lady who's a friend of mine, Maria Flores, a former military officer. Maria is 60 years old, 61 now. And if you follow her follow Maria on social media. I follow on Facebook. Me and her husband, the Colonel Philip Cooper. He's a great guy. Philip is a great guy. He supported Trump, but I'm not going to hold that to him against him. Maybe. And she is amazing. She is amazing. Her body. This woman is 60 years old, and she's just muscle on top of muscle. And she just won. I mean, I think she's thinking about she might compete maybe 1 or 2 more years, and she's going to retire. And and she loves the lifestyle. She loves the bodybuilding lifestyle. She keeps herself shape, and she just she competed also at the Tampa Bay, and I think she did another show. I think she did Tampa Bay and Savannah too. I forgot. I need to reach out to him. She might do another show sometime soon. I'm hoping, cross my fingers. She is a great representation because she's a former veteran, being in the U.S. military. She's from Guam. I'm a fan of Maria. I've done videos about Maria. I reached out to her and her husband Cooper about doing an interview. They said once things settle down, they'll probably do one. I'd love to do one with them because they're great people. I met them years ago on social media when they were living back in Florida, and when that was around time when Matthew was coming through, and they were trying to get a way out, and because they came through way half through my area in North Carolina in Robeson County, and we were chatting because they were in my area of Robeson County where I stay at. They were right around 95. He was, and ever since then we have been, very good friends. I mean, I send them pictures, they send me posts. We just been talking back and forth. Now, another lady who I remember back in the day who competed sometime was lady by the name of Patty Corbett. And Patty was small, but she was muscular. And Patty competed, I think, she competed back in 2017, 2018 at the Hawaiian Pro. And Patty had amazing physique. And I know Patty has to be now she won her pro card back in 2015. And she competed at least maybe 2 or 3 more years as a pro before she retired. And I think at the time she was maybe 60. By the time she retired, she had to be about 65, maybe. And she had a great physique, and this is often I say like this: shorter female bodybuilders seem like they pack on some great amount of muscle, unbelievable amount of muscle. And she is one of those. So I would say do this. All you gotta do is just if you want to research her name is Patty Corbett. All you gotta do is I'll put the name, in the comment section. I can say his name is Patty Corbett. I think it's 1 T. I think it's 2 T's. I think it's 1 T. I think it's 2 T's. It's 2 T's. Check her out. She's on social media, and this thing, she's a mother, a grandmother, I believe. I remember when she was doing an interview after she won a pro card. She said she's really got into it when her youngest child went to school. Now, as you know, I did an interview with Nancy Lewis some time ago, and I told her that she looked like she could probably still get back, but she said she needed at least a couple of years because she hadn't competed for almost, I think, last competed in 2012, and now she's been out of the game for almost 8 years at the time of our, I think about a little about 8 years, about 8 years by the time of our interview. And she looks in great shape. She keeps herself good in shape because that lifestyle. It's hard to go away. There's some women who stay committed to the lifestyle. Sometimes there's women who just kind of just fall back into the real world. They get a little overweight. They do get a little bit out of shape. They don't keep up as they used to because life hits them. They either happen, they just don't work out anymore, or they just not into it. They just get away from the sport. Also, another lady I mentioned, this is another lady I want to mention, is Jeannie Pepperone. Now I did Jeannie Pepperone has joined my channel some time ago, and I follow her on social media, and Jeannie is she's amazing. I'm telling you guys, maybe not compete in female bodybuilding, but maybe physique. And I think there was a lot of women coming up in the good part of the 2000s. Now today, I think they will be great in physique, like Dr. Dina Westerfield, who subscribes to my channel. Dina Westerfield, she would make a great physique competitor. I follow her on social media. She still's in good shape. You know, if she can take the time and maybe work out a little bit, maybe a year or so, get back on her diet, get back on everything else, really I could see her competing in women's physique. And I did a comparison with her. I compared it to Michaela Aycock. You know what Michaela Aycock is? She's a young up-and-coming physique competitor who switched to bodybuilder about a couple years back. She competed as a bodybuilder at the 2019 Tampa Bay Pro. And she made that switch, And I think they're kind of almost, in a way, kind of similar in physique. They have that small waist, kind of small and, a little bit more narrow, we had the more V-tape look to each other, and they almost look similar. That's why the comparison between Michaela Aycock and Dina Westerfield. Now, another bodybuilder who was a former bodybuilder who I think will probably, if she ever think about coming out of retirement, is Annie Rivicchio. Annie is still in great shape. She's still in amazing shape. I think back in the day, Annie had that, she has a bomb body. I mean, look up Annie Rivicchio, check out her, she works behind the camera now. She does photos and stuff she works for like Muscle Angel. She might do some stuff for, I think she might do some stuff for Wings of Strength and a couple other sites and do photography. She used to also do videos, because I remember I was watching an old backstage video from the Tampa Bay Pro back in 2011, and she was there taking videos, and this guy was there assisting her, and she does that too. But Annie, even though she's not competitive anymore, she's still in great shape. And Annie is almost 60. I think she's 58 or 57. And Annie, if she could take the time, maybe take a year, train, I think she'd probably be better as a physique competitor also. When she was a bodybuilder, she would be perfect as a bodybuilder today. But now at her age, and if she worked on it, she'd be great as a physique competitor. Now, another one I'm thinking of, who I've seen, outside of the sport, is Tazzy Colum. If you remember Tazzy Colum, they call him the Rage Cajun. He was from Louisiana. Tazzy was just an amazing bodybuilder. If I put a name in, if some of y'all who follow this, you might remember Tazzy. And one time I reached out to her. She gave me a number to call her, and I hadn't used that number. I think it was mostly want to do a session, and I don't have the money for sessions. Those are tempting, but I don't have the money for it. And I really want to do an interview with her. And she, even now, I think she does powerlifting, and I think she's still, I'm trying to find some social, I'm going to check to see if she's on IG. A lot of these ladies are not on social media that much. That's why some of the older bodybuilders, like the ones that, who were big time back in the day, they're not all on social media, and most of these are more like on IG, maybe on Facebook. But Tazzy was amazing. And I think if she's still, and she's, as I said before, she does powerlifting. And powerlifting is more about strength than anything else. But if she takes some time off, say, I want to come back, I think she will probably be better off as a full-blown bodybuilder. I don't think she can do physique. Tazzy was too big for bodybuilding back in the day. She's too big for physique, But Tazzy was amazing. I mean, that's a great debate. And there's some up-and-coming women right now. I know recently, a lady I saw by the name of what's her name? I just heard she just got her pro card a while back. I'm trying to think of her name. I wish Jared was here. Jared could really help me out. I sent him a link to here, and I thought Jared would be here, but I think Jared might be busy. I can't fault him. He has a life. He's young. But there's plenty of women in the back of my skull that I know that I've seen that are still in great condition. That if they take the time, maybe take a year or so, like we had my interview with uh with uh uh with Nancy Lewis. Like we said that if Yaxini had took maybe more of a year to really focus on it, she really would have came in with a better condition, you know, and she would have come in much more, defined and put together, you know. And that's just, and she's like one of the, like I said, there's always that debate why she didn't win another Olympia after that. Well, there was a time when they was going through a metamorphosis. They decided to get away from that whole weight class thing. And then Yaxini, she had the look they wanted. Iris looked a little too soft, and then boom, and then that's what happened. And Iris, she's almost 50. I think, Iris is about 50, I believe. I think she's about my age. And, she's still in great shape. So, she mostly compete with women now. But, I can see her competing in the, when she gets to the point where she competes in the women's master division. And it's just about the look of it. Because, it's, when you get a little older, you got to think about it. It's hard for you to put on that mask that you had when you were younger, unless you take a certain extreme chemicals or steroids. Okay, that's what I'm about to say, and that's the only thing that could help you bring that mass back. But when you're older, you're not going to have that mass. That's why a lot of your most popular bodybuilders back in the day who were mass monsters have got smaller. Like even like this one was I follow Christine Inval. You remember Christine Inval? She was another bodybuilder from Australia, and she still works out here in good shape. And I said to her, "Have you ever think about coming back in retirement, and competing?" She said, "Nah, she's happy as she is. She likes to stay herself, and she likes to keep up in shape and keep working out. But I'm tell you the truth, if she took the time, honestly, she could, come back. And I think women's bodybuilding probably not, but maybe women's physique be more her stride. There's I think a lot of women who were mass monsters back in the day probably better as physique competitors, like Jeannie Pepperone. I know I saw a thing with Laura Beniti. You remember Laura Beniti? She's a very big muscular bodybuilder from Canada. She wanted to come back, but I think some injuries set her back. She still trained, stay in good shape, but I don't think she really would get to the level where she was back in the day. And if she did compete, she has to compete in women's physique, And it's more fewer bodybuilding. I would say the younger women are coming up are pretty good. There's some young women pretty coming up, but they won't hit their real stride till about their late 30s to their early 40s. So I look at Andrea. She at the time when Andrea won the Miss Olympia, Andrea turned 37 that year. 37, and she won Miss Olympia. Now, if I can remember, I think when Iris won Miss Olympia, that was that's nearly back in 19. She won her first Miss Olympia in 2004. She beat Linda. And that's been 17 years ago. I think Iris was at least 30, maybe 30 about the time. And Iris was genetic wonder. And she by the time after the last Miss Olympia, that was 2015, that's 9 years. I think Iris was just about 40 after that last Miss Olympia, just about 40. And I think she probably hit her genetic stride. That's why I say like female bodybuilders hit their stride when they hit their late 40s. I think like it's like with women, like men, we hit our muscle maturity drops after I want to think after our 20s and 30s. Women, they're genetically different from us. they hit their peak of something later in life because they have to, you know, it's just I think it's some kind of processes like of you know, like how when you're a teenage boy, you hit your sexual peak when you're a teenager, and then it drops off by the time you hit to about, you know, 40s to 50s. But women, their sexual peak don't rev up to about mid 40s to about the 50s when you realize I think some people say it's after when it hits the menstrual time, when they stop having periods, when they don't have the need to reproduce anymore, when sex is not for the purpose of reproduction anymore, where it's just for pleasure. That's what some people believe. Why women hit their sexual peak after their menstrual cycle years. But that's how it is. I think, you know, with women who are much older. That's why you see a growing number of women come into the sport who are much older, you know, and you see a lot of young women leaving it from the sport. Then they come back later. I've seen some female bodybuilders who left, you know, at young ages, and then a few years coming, they've come back. That's why I'm talking about like Shannon Courtney, or she goes by Shannon Courtney Crawford. She left. She was in her early 20s. Now she's in her early 30s, and she's doing CrossFit. There's a possibility. That she might come back in 3 or 4 years. She might get tired of CrossFit. I know CrossFit is not as profitable it might be a little profitable compared to bodybuilding. But I've seen, you know, like recently, Annie Sheehan, who was a competitive bodybuilder for a long time, started doing powerlifting, but came out of retirement to compete at the she competed at Miss Olympia, you know, the Tampa Bay, and competed also in Chicago, you know, and it's just that athletic desire to compete, you know, and powerlifting it's serious, you know, you mostly it's more about power than it's about performance, more about performance than it's about presentation compared to bodybuilding. But debate, like I said, debate is like with the growing number of women who are now hitting their stride in their late 50s, you know, early 40s, and getting the sport and fitness. Would honestly, you think, would the IFBB, not the IFBB, Women's Strength, would want to think of creating a women's master division? You know, and how would we work it out? Well, could the ladies compete could he put it like in a show like kind of like with the Miss International show, which is a pro qualifier show, or like with the could it be like a separate show, and then if the women win, if the winner of the Masters go on and she competes at the Olympia, or it could be part of the Olympia weekend, you know, like back in the day. Hey, you can have there's so many shows. You can fit the Olympia weekend, you know, make it a 5-week show. You can start it on Tuesday, from Tuesday to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday. No, it's 6. So Tuesday, so let's say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, yeah, that might be working. They should do that, you know. But I know I'm just rambling off top of my head, and I just want to share y'all my thoughts about this, because I'm a big fan of some of these women who are much older, much mature, who understand that what it is to take to be a competitor. Because I think a lot of the younger girls who are in the sport right now, they end it to be like someone want to be the next big thing. They want to be the next big star. They have a future. They look forward to the future. But with older competitors, their future already set. They already done what they did. Some of these ladies have had a family. They settled down. They want to do something out of their comfort zone. They make the decision. They say, you know what, I did this, I did that. My kids are grown. I want to do something. I always want to do this. I got into it because, most often when I see interviews with older female bodybuilders or older uh, um, competitors that they said that they got in it because the kids got older. They were getting little. They felt like they were getting a little out of shape, and they got into it to they build the shape and build the confidence. And then after a while, it just everything started to crescendo. Just kind of fold in. They got into just to lift weights, to build a little muscle, to tone up. And then somebody sees them one day and say, "Hey, you ever think about doing this for a profession?" And say, "Hey, I never heard of bodybuilding." And like my friend Brittany, Big Brittany Brooks, Big Lemonade, she mentioned that before. That she said she never knew about bodybuilding, but she just fell into it. And she's a mother of four kids, and she fell into it. And right now she's still trying. She has set up for a while because she had issues with sickle cell anemia, and we're hoping that we're supposed to talk about that. We're supposed to be to talk about that, but we're hoping to get together soon. And she got into the sport, and she loves it. She hated it that she couldn't work out because of the pain and the issues that it causes, but she's glad that she's able to get back into it. And a lot of competitors, they love how it makes them feel good. Especially when you're older, it gives you, it rejuvenates your mind and your body. You feel a lot more what you was, kind of like a piece of yourself when you were younger. Remember those days when you were young, you could do this, the world was your oyster. And then you get older, you settle down, you have a family, and then sometimes you slow down a little bit. And then one day you sit back and say to yourself, you know what? I need to do something. I just, it's never too late. Never too late. Like right now, I've started taking care of myself. I still do little stuff like, snack and whatever else, but I try to eat a little healthier if I can. But I still fall into my old habits. That's the thing. And then you say to yourself, let me do this. Let me go to the gym one day, work out a little bit, try, pull a little weights, you work out, you start seeing difference, your arms get a little bigger, your butt get a little tighter, you get, you can walk a little farther, your head a little higher. And then you instead of just going to the gym maybe twice a week and doing maybe a couple hours, you go to gym maybe twice a day. And that's maybe, say 6 days out of the week. That's maybe 12 hours a whole week, and maybe doing about 15 to 20 hours a day, 20 hours a week at the gym, and you're enjoying yourself. And then you start seeing your results. And then someday you might have somebody say, "Hey, you look pretty good. You ever think about competing?" Say, competing what? Bodybuilding. Say, no, I'm not sure about that. But you get somebody who convinces you, say, "Hey, come on, try it. You might like it." So, you do a couple of amateur shows. You get, you kind of shy, kind of scared, you get yourself a coach, work on your posing, you work on you get a suits, and you work out, you get the diet, and then you do your first show. You're a little shy, you be out there, people, you're pretty much half naked, but then you get that, you hear, especially if you have your family with you, like you have your kids rooting for you, your husband rooting for you, whoever else rooting for you, and it makes you feel good. You just put on a good show, and you maybe not win that show, but hey, it's your first show. But you say, you know what, I'm gonna stick with it because I like it. It makes you feel good. And then you come back again, you compete some more shows, and then you become, you get a reputation. You be popular. Then one day, this is what happens. You go to like a national, something like that. You compete maybe like one thing was like with like the Pittsburgh show. There's like so many divisions for age groups, for 30 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus, yeah. And you say, let me do all these divisions and see how I do. And then you say, bam, I get my pro card. So all this years of work and everything, I get my pro card. Now I'm going to the big show. Then you competing with some competitors who are maybe 20 years younger than you, some maybe 10 years younger than you. And you feel like, can I stand shoulder to shoulder with these people? You should. You should be proud of yourself. But then you think to yourself, maybe I might feel comfortable competing somebody closer to my age. Now that's up to you. But that's you thinking that might be a good idea, And then if you win, gives you opportunity to go to the Olympia. So again, like I said, that's why I say the pro am division, ladies master division, could be separate. It's just a qualifier for Olympia. You go represent women of more of a, how I say it, more mature age. And see how you do against women who are much younger than you. If you fare well, if you like I said, if you beat out some top notch women who are much younger than you, that's pretty good. Like this is one of those. I was like at the Olympia in the women's physique division. The top 5, most of the women were at least, I would say, late 30s, maybe early 40s. And there's one lady from France by the name of Barbara Manjan, if I got her name right. And I follow her on social media. I even did a video for Barbara because she reached out to me. And she made the top 4 at the show. And she beat out somebody like Ivy Rain. And Ivy Rain, much younger competitor who has a sizable physique. She beat her out, made the top 4. That's amazing. And she's much older than her, but she made the top 4. Also, if all you gotta do is go back here. If you go back, there's a picture of Barbara Majan getting her medal, and you can look off to the side, Ivy Rain, and she has that look on her face, like you say, like it's like, how can hell you beat me? How come I'm top 5? But you got to think about it. If I feel I was talking to somebody and said like, Ivy Rain has been lucky. She was lucky because during her competitive time, she barely ever cracked the top 10. So she happy. I should be there smiling my face ear to ear. I made top 5 at the Olympia. That means I get automatic buy next year. I don't have to compete any other shows. I can sit out and just cool out, wait, and I can start my prep when I'm ready. Because I think the Olympia is not till about September, I believe. I think it's September, or is it October? I gotta check that out. And you should be happy. But Barbara Majan, I think she's very happy because a woman her age who competed for for the time she had competed, she beaten some competitors much younger than her, to make the top 4, actually the top 5 at the Miss Olympia, to get number 4 and beat out somebody like Ivy Rain, who people probably felt like should have been made the top 3, possibly. But I think with Ivy Rain, Ivy is too big for the division. I think she had to look for it, but look at the girl. If you like Ivy Rain, look at her. Her shoulders are broad. Her back is wide. She is more of a bodybuilder. She is a physique competitor. I know she competed in physique for quite a long time, but she's getting to the side. She's getting bigger. And when these women start getting bigger, that's when the judges start telling them, hey, you might need to think about going to bodybuilding. But because she already made the top 5 for the Olympia for women's physique division, she's got an automatic buy for this year's Olympia. But if she don't make the top 5 this year, there's a good chance that she might jump over to physique. But there's so many women that I'm trying to think of that who are much older, who probably might be interested in doing a women's master division. The rules is you have to be 50 plus, and that's the one 50 plus. That's the requirement. You have to be 50 plus. If you want, you can do. And here's also you can either compete. You can compete both the regular shows and also you can compete in the master shows. That's that's up to you if you want to do that, because that's how it's like same with the Miss International show. When you win the Miss International show, you compete. You compete at the Chicago Pro, because you gain your pro card. So that means you can compete at the pro show. And that's what I think a lot of ladies have done, like won the Miss International, especially if they win their division, they win the overall, they compete at the Chicago Pros also. So anyway, I get a response from my man Jared. I know he probably sleeping. I can't fault him. And this is just I just thought about. I just want to share with y'all. So I'm not gonna hold y'all up. I want to like this. You see that? Like I said again, you see my GoFundMe, my Cash App, and my PayPal. If anybody get a chance, watch the video, share the video, reach out to somebody, let them know your mindset on the idea of possibly creating that women's strength should create a women's master division. Put put your comments, share your comments, share this video with other people. I mean, just let everybody knows what's your mindset on the idea of a women's master division. Anyway, I enjoy just talking with y'all, and just listen to all my personal thoughts. I enjoy often get some feedback, but if I don't get it, that's cool. If I do, I do. But when you do make comments and put feedback in it, I will respond. Anyway, it's me all the way George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk. Don't like, subscribe, don't subscribe. I'm out.